Hey there, Gemini. Welcome to Zen-Tarot. My name's Julie. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for you, Gemini. We're going to see what kind of energy is surrounding you. I hope you like this reading. If you do, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. If you'd like a personal reading from me, all of that information is in the description box below. I am open for those. Let's get right to it, Gemini. Let's get you a moon oracle card. See what kind of moon energy is surrounding you. So, Spirit, let's clear the energy. Can we get a moon oracle card for the sign of Gemini? What's going on with Gemini? Ooh, you're very close to achieving your goal and a win-win outcome is forecast. Look at this. Look at this. Look how close you are to this big win, Gemini. I love that. The full moon in Libra, some kind of karmic balance coming in. And the gibbous moon here with you're very close to achieving your goal. So you've been just kind of lost, just trying to find your way, trying to find the light here. And here comes the balance you've been looking for. Beautiful. At the bottom of the deck, we have got, oh my God, we've got expect powerful change with the new moon eclipse. Wow, and we are entering into eclipse season. We've got this big super moon, blood moon, full moon on March 14th. A lot of astrological stuff going on, Gemini. So yeah, some kind of big, powerful change coming for you. It includes a win-win and something you've been working toward or working on for a really long time. Coming to fruition here. I love it. Let's see what kind of animal spirit guide is up in the ether for the sign of Gemini. Spirit, can we get an animal spirit guide? What kind of familiar is walking with Gemini? Ooh, the crows, some kind of spiritual information coming in here. You've learned some kind of karmic lesson here. Boy, you're just sitting on it now. It's like you've been working on something, some kind of karmic cycle here. The lamb, look what wants to be seen here, the tarantula as well, some kind of crossroads. But the lamb coming into a more prophetic time. Wow, the prophet steps up, but you're in a decision mode. You've got some kind of crossroads in front of you. And the crocodile, look at you, the lurker. Stalker. All right, let's get this. Ooh, and the wisdom with the owl. I love that. All right, so we're going to leave the lamb up here because we're coming into Easter time. I think it's Ash Wednesday today, if I'm not mistaken. And the prophet steps up here. Let's see what kind of Zen-Tarot is up in the ether. Spirit, can we get some advice from the Master Osho for up in the ether for Gemini? What's going on with Gemini? Celebration. Look at you. Really, really celebrating this victory. Oh my God, some kind of big win coming in for you. I can feel it. I can feel the completion here. I can feel the sigh of relief coming from you. Something is coming to a close, and it looks like that storm is over. The rain clouds have moved away. Here comes the sun. Here comes the rainbow for you, Gemini. Wow. Moment to moment, the Two of Pentacles, there's that decision that you're trying to make here, trying to tread very carefully or make the right decision here. You don't want to step down on that rock with such force, with such knowing that it slips out from underneath you here. So you're very calculating, trying to plan these next steps very, very carefully here. Strategizing for this decision. All right, let's get some Everyday Witch Tarot cards. We're going to take a look at the mind, the heart, and the soul here, Gemini. We're going to take a look at the mind space first off. What are you thinking about, Gemini? What do you want to talk about? What does Gemini want to talk about, Spirit? Let's get the main theme for the Gemini reading. Four of Pentacles. You're like, just give me a minute. I don't know. I want to sit here for a minute. You are strategizing. You're in some kind of planning mode here, some kind of future coming in. You can see it bright and clearly now when there was a lot of darkness before, a lot of confusion, a lot of oh, I feel like something's been put on you, like some kind of fear veil or some kind of you know how they can I don't know what I'm thinking here, but some kind of fear to even leave the threshold here. I'm picturing someone taking that step outside the threshold here, outside of the doorway here, and needing courage, needing bravery to go through there, getting to the other side and realizing there was nothing out there. There was no monster under the bed here, nothing that you had been told exists outside the door. So you're coming into a huge realization. Look at stress underneath there. It's been very, very stressful. Some kind of mask has been placed over you, or a veil has been placed over you, causing you to wait for something. Queen of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, maybe money here, maybe some kind of financial windfall, or one day it's gonna all come together. One day I'm gonna be happy. One day I'm gonna find my peace here. And that one day just keeps getting further and further away, and you're missing the moment. You're missing the today of it because you're so focused on the tomorrow and everything working out. You're really planning for this. You're really in strategizing mode, almost like you've locked yourself in a room here and you are being very calculating, very strategic. Tell me about this. Tell me about this strategy that Gemini has. The Moon and the Two of Cups. Maybe it has to do with a partnership, duality coming in here. I love that. You are the master of duality here. You've got that yin and the yang going on at all times. You've got the angel and the devil on each shoulder here, showing you all perspectives, all sides here. You're the great mediator. Really the great mediator, but something has been deliberately blown out of proportion for you. It's big, it got bigger. You know how problems, if you ignore them or you push them under the rug, they tend to fester under there. They're like parasites that just keep compounding on themselves and growing, and that secret that seemed so little so long ago now has become very, very big and infected and toxic now. Now you got to tend to it, and you got to look at it, and you have to accept this, because something has been blown out of proportion. Something's been made to be bigger or look bigger than it actually is here, keeping you in fear mode, keeping you in shackles in your mind space here, keeping you shackled in fear here, while the rest of the world is out celebrating, out rejoicing the moment here. That's all we have. That's all we can really focus on, is the moment at hand here. Wow, you feel like you don't have all the facts, or you don't have all of the numbers to crunch here, like you're waiting for something. There's some kind of big number you're waiting on, or some kind of figure you're waiting on here. So you're just waiting to balance the budget, but you have to know what this is. There's something missing. There's some kind of missing link here that you have to know about, so that you can plan it into the budget, so you can plan it into the time frames. You can work around it here, but you've got to tend to something. There's something that needs your attention here. You have to tend to it. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger because it's something you don't want to look at, or something somebody has told you. The power of suggestion can be really, really big, right? Some seed, a seed gets planted, and then if you water it and you nurture it and you give it attention, which is nurturing it, is focusing on it, it's going to grow. It's going to grow. It's going to be bigger than it is. Something's been made to be bigger than it is. Someone's making a mountain out of a molehill. And it seems to be simply for your benefit here, to keep you in shackles, to keep you from escaping this mental prison here, while they're out celebrating, while they're out claiming their victory because they were able to fool someone. They were able to pull the wool over someone's eyes, and it's you sitting there trying to find the answers, find the truth. I say that because the Two of Cups is coming out in my challenge position in the mind space here. So it's challenging to imagine that people are just continuing living on with their lives while you're in some kind of prison. You feel very, very trapped here. Tell me more about this. What is the key to get out of this? Judgment. Yes, number 20. Look at this Libra energy. More Libra energy coming into the mix here. Gemini, you got that Pisces moon, that very emotional. Look at this with the Nine of Swords. You're coming from grief, you're coming from sorrow, you're coming from some deep loss. And instead of somebody coming in and nurturing you through it and telling you everything's going to be okay and giving you that confirmation, they're instilling more fear. Well, it could happen to you. Well, it could happen to me. Well, it could happen to our town, our city, our village. Just really this sense of doom and gloom being put on you, keeping you trapped. when it's time to be set free. It is time to be set free of this grief, of the disappointments, of the failures, of the losses here. It's time to accept, because they're festering. They're festering under your life here. They're festering under your happiness here. And they're stealing it from you. Oh my God, Gemini, as soon as you realize this, as soon as you shun this information, this smoke and mirrors here, this confusion, as soon as you shun it away, as soon as you shine the light on it, let's expose it, let's look at it, let's really go to that worst case scenario in our mind. Sometimes that's the best way to get through something. Play it out in your mind. Play out that worst case scenario instead of shoving it under the carpet. It's not going to happen to me. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Instead of doing that, really look at it. Let's look at my life if this happens. Let's look at my life with everything falling apart the way I'm imagining it happen. Why not? I remember I'm coming to this memory in my mind when I was in my 30s. I was terrified that I was going to have cancer, or cancer was running through my system undetectable, right? That someday it was going to show up. And I talked to this doctor about it. Here I am in my 30s, terrified of this cancer diagnosis that I never had, right? And I'm sitting on the table with the doctor and I'm telling her this, that I have this huge fear. I'm almost hypochondriac, I was at the time, about cancer. It was just a big fear of mine. And she said, what's the difference if you get a diagnosis or not? You're literally living with cancer because you're so afraid of it. You keep pushing it under the carpet. Don't look at the blood. Don't look too deep, because I don't want you to find that toxin that's deep within me. I felt something deep within me going on here. It was my own fear of that. That's what was deep within me. That was the seed being planted, and that can very much grow to be the very thing that you're so terrified of, because I was so focused on it. So she broke that for me. She broke that chain for me, that fear for me. I was no longer afraid of it, because she was right. I was living with it anyway, even though I had never had the diagnoses, right? I was nurturing that seed of fear. I was giving it attention here. So Spirit is asking you to remove your attention from the worst case scenario, from the doom and gloom, from the Armageddon scenario, and focus, really focus on what is good in your life, what you are very, very grateful for, the experiences that you're very, very grateful for. It's going to shed those fears. It's going to really remove the fear. So put yourself there. Put yourself there. Imagine yourself in that worst case scenario. It's not going to hurt you in your mind, Gemini. It's only going to hurt you when you bring it into the physical. Before it comes into the physical, really fight that demon. Fight that battle of this biggest fear. You're working with your biggest fear here. So really look at it. Look at it. It does not have the power when you look at it, when you strategize about it, when you write it down and burn it here. This is my worst nightmare. Let's take a look at the heart space for Gemini. Spirit, let's take a look at the heart space. What is Gemini feeling? I feel like I kind of need, look at this with death and rebirth. And the 9 of Swords. You're literally being delivered from this grief. Deliverance. This is a time of deliverance from the grief, from the sorrow, from the darkness for you, Gemini. I love it. I love it. Deliverance. Yes. Deliver me from evil, Lord. Amen. Yes. Oh my God, I love it. All right, let's take a look at the heart space. Let's take a look at the emotions for Gemini. What flipped here that I missed? The 8 of Cups, walking away. And the Ace of Pentacles, there's that victory, that win-win. It comes in the form of money here. As soon as you walk away from the fears, look at all these fears that have held you captive. It's like you didn't want these cups to fall over. You had been filling them for probably 8 years. It's right after that 7-year cycle here. And now, instead of trying to get them all hot again, instead of trying to stoke the fires of the passions that you had of yesterday, you're walking away from it. You're walking away from it. It was too scary that they were going to fall over. You kept imagining them falling over after all the work you had put into it. You imagined you were building this house and the tornado came through and destroyed it here. So that fear had you just staring at those cups, had you staring at the 8 of Cups. It's kept you from the 9 of Cups. It kept you from your happiness here because you were so focused on the 8 of Cups there. So yeah, you're walking away from it, and look at this Eureka in your heart space. That was the answer. It was all along. It was my focus on it. It was my fear about it. And the attention that I was giving to it. Maybe a relationship had gone sour in the past, a friendship, a coworker, something like that. I'm saying coworker because I saw the 8 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck before. So yeah, maybe you had to work through that relationship, work through those fears there, and now you get to walk away from it. You get to walk away from the thought of losing that relationship. You did everything to keep it. You did everything to manage it, and nothing was working because it was all smoke and mirrors. It was all smoke and mirrors. It was just to keep you in that mode for you to be able to break free of it. How would you know you had broken free from it if you hadn't been swallowed up by it? So you're walking away from the fears. Opens the door to this huge eureka, this big monetary gain, And it comes in the heart space here, so it really lightens your mood, it lightens the load. It removes a lot of the fears that you have about money, a lot of these fears that you feel like something's going to be taken from you or the rug's going to be pulled. It has to do with money. All right, let's take a look at the challenge in the heart space. What is the challenge? the devil energy. Boy, you are a challenge in the heart space, Mr. Devil. Look at the temptation that's been thrown at you. Look at the temptation to fall back into fear here, to fall back into paralyzation here because you've been overanalyzing here, Gemini. Been overanalyzing it. You've been going way too deep down the rabbit holes of what could happen if you took that step past the threshold, if you took that step outside the door, outside of your comfort zone. The fears of what could go on around you really paralyzed you. Just paralyzed you. When you finally take that step out of your own skin, out of your own head, out of your own thoughts, you're gonna be amazed at what you've been missing. It's like the sun can finally get to you because you've been so secluded, so isolated, so deep down in the hole. Sun couldn't penetrate through this devil energy, and the devil here always represents fear to me. It's always that whisper in your ear that you can't do it without me. Don't you dare step over that threshold without me, without that vice, without that friend, without that partner, without that money, without whatever it is, whatever you've been putting in that pile that when I get this, then I will step out, then I will show the world who I really am and what I've made of here. All it did was keep you in confusion with the Seven of Cups here. Just kept you in confusion. Every single choice was almost paralyzing because what if you made the wrong choice? See, that's the devil's lie again, that you might be wrong, you might fail, you might, devil never tells you might succeed, which is almost what went through my mind there. The devil will never tell you that. Never. That's God's work. The devil only throws you into misery and sorrow and grief and keeps reminding you of how hard the world can be and how many things you don't know. Whew, that's a challenge. That's a challenge. You got to kick that devil to the curb, and that devil is fear. The fear of success here. I think that's what it is. That's why success was moving into my mind right then. The fear of success here, because then people will want so much from you. This is all about boundary making. This is about boundary making and stepping out into the world, knowing that no is a complete sentence, that you can still protect yourself out with the others. Because you've been holding yourself back here. You've been holding yourself back. Spirit, what's your advice in the heart space? What is your advice? You've been holding yourself back from these relationships where you go all in because you haven't been able to trust. You haven't been able to trust yourself because you've made some bad decisions, maybe, like we all have. We're human, right? You have to admit that first and foremost. I'm human. Plus, you see all sides of things. You see all scenarios. You're Gemini. You have the duality that most of us don't have. You have that master debate going on at all times, right? It's like you're like, I'm going to go down this road. I'm going to see what's there. I'm going to go get what's mine. And then on the other hand, what if I just stay here and work diligently, put my head down, crunch the numbers, and do this on my own? Maybe that's better. Then I don't have to trust anyone. Then I don't have to go all in and be fooled and be heartbroken, because that's what relationships for you are all about, is giving too much of yourself, overstepping boundaries, taking too much. So it's almost like you're afraid to make a friend because then they're going to be an obligation. Friendship is not an obligation. It should not be an obligation, but it has to you in the past. As soon as you open the door and you say, come on in, I'm going to show you what I'm doing here, it felt like an obligation. Now they were like, can I come over? Now they wanted to get close to you. Now they wanted to know about you. And to you, it felt very intrusive, very intrusive. It was like, someone asking you what your name is and you're like, how dare you? Right? We all get this way. Don't feel like you're singled out here. We all get into this mistrust. It's the power that the devil has over us. Don't mingle with others. Don't fall into happiness accidentally where I can't get to you, where I can't instill those fears and have you holding back here, because that's my job, the devil says. Look at this miracle coming in, Gemini. I am telling you, if you can let go of this fear, if you can let go of the fear of failure, the fear of tripping up, the fear of making a mistake, the miracles can come in. The star always represents a replenishment, a rejuvenation, a miracle for you. And you've got the Ace of Pentacles in your heart space here. So yeah, it's almost like you were feeling like money was a curse. It was the devil. If you got too much of it, it meant you were evil. It meant you were doing something wrong here. Money is just an energy. And the way that the world is feeling about money with the haves and the have-nots, it's become very, very apparent that we don't have enough. We don't have enough. And it's very scary, very scary. As soon as you turn around and you look at your shelter, your food, your family, your support group, you have everything you need. You always did. There's no reason to expand it out into the world here where there are so many that need. There's so many that are starving, that are sorrow, just living in real sorrow, real prisons. There are people in prisons that are freer than some of those that are not. Don't put yourself in that prison. Don't do it. It's not fair. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to your family. It's not fair to those that love you here. Gemini, there's a big miracle coming for you. It changes everything in your heart space. It allows you to trust yourself again. You can freely make decisions now because you're not afraid of making a mistake or afraid of making the wrong decisions. It's almost like, I don't know if I'm showing my age again, but it used to be so much abundance in the United States of America. You could go into a grocery store and just the cereal aisle alone was so confusing. It was so confusing. It was too much. Way too much. It almost felt sickening to go in when you knew that people had nothing. You knew that they were the options were not available to them, and it was just almost heartbreaking to go in and see the variety that others could not afford here. So yeah, I mean, we are shining a light on the haves and the have-nots, and it's heartbreaking. It is. But it's okay to have your share. It's okay to have money. It's okay to be safe and secure with money. That is the only way to help others when you're feeling safe and anchored. You could have $100 in the bank and feeling rich, right? Feeling so rich. And you are rich compared to those that have nothing, So really, really understand what this means, what rich means, what abundance means here. Abundance is having exactly what you need in the moment that you need it here. That is the definition of abundance, and that's what you have here. So now you get to see the miracle, but you got to let go of the grief and the confusion and the moon energy in order to understand what real abundance is, and it's happiness, it's joy, it's life is supposed to be good for you. Yes. All right, let's look at the foundation. This is going a little long. Page of Swords, this is the daily life. Now there's that 9 of Cups sitting right underneath the 8 of Cups. Finally you surrender it. You surrender it to the divine. You surrender your fears. You surrender the need to babysit these cups for fear of something being taken from you. It's like as soon you had this fear, as soon as you turn your back, all your cups were going to be taken from you. Now you're turning your back on those cups to enjoy the sun, to enjoy the beach, to enjoy the feel of the wind against your face. And the cups are standing strong behind you. You never had to babysit them. You never had to tend to them. You just had to let go. You had to detach from the outcome here. I love that. What's the challenge in the everyday life for Gemini? What's the challenge? What's the challenge in the everyday life for Gemini? Challenge. Ooh, look at this, the Page of Wands. Starting over is a challenge. That's always a challenge, to be the apprentice once again. You're learning new skill set here. You're learning a new trade, a new way to be now that you're walking away from this business, from this partnership, from this thing that kept you so bogged down in the details. The devil to me right now is all about the details. Somebody really throwing all the details at you. Details you did not need to hear. It just riddled you with fear, riddled you that you were going to drop the ball or you were going to make a mistake here. Yeah, don't get lost in the details, right? Don't get lost in your own point here, Gemini. Gotta start over, be the apprentice, be the one that's eager to learn, the one that's eager to learn, not the one that knows it all, not the one that has all the answers. We are constantly learning here. So look at the Empress, some kind of birth, some kind of rebirth, with death and rebirth up in the mind space here. But maybe somebody is physically pregnant here, or coming to you with news of a pregnancy here. You are starting over in so many different ways. You're letting go of so many different fears here. You're letting go of fears of health here with the star energy, the miracle coming in. You're allowing that miracle to happen to you. Before, you were holding yourself back from the miracle. You didn't think you were ready for it. You didn't think you were prepared for it. Also, you imagined yourself winning big here, winning millions of dollars, or whatever the monetary amount was for you. And immediately the fear snuck in. Immediately it was like, oh my God, my brother's going to want to borrow from me. My best friend is really needing that business to open up. If I give them 100,000 and them 100,000, it's only going to leave me with, right? You started going into strategy mode. You started going to who's going to need what and how can I say no to them? And I always promised them if I made it big, I would help them, right? That was always the promise, always the negotiations with spirit. Oh, is that just me? Maybe. If you give this to me, God, I will do this, right? The bargaining. Wow, Gemini, it's time to cut everything and everyone out of your life. How is this going to make me feel? It's like winning it big and not telling a soul, just really sitting with this for a minute, sitting with this big bounty that you have, and enjoying it for you for once. Just enjoy it for you. Just for once. When you walk out that door and everyone sees how you've made it so big in that hermit mode, in that quiet time, in that secluded time, it's just going to be different. You already have the boundaries because you've secluded yourself. So they're not going to come to you like you think, and you're not going to feel the guilt of having money like you think. It's almost like it was a curse, or you would feel guilty or shame. You just put yourself immediately there when you imagined yourself hitting it big. Spirit is saying you got to cut. That's the devil energy. That is the devil energy. Again, it's the fear of success here. Allow yourself to succeed. Allow yourself to have this miracle come in. I am allowed to receive. I see everyone else is doing the same. So I'm going to give myself permission to receive here. It doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. It doesn't have to be so scary. Those are the perspectives of others. That's the difference between perception and perspective here. That is just their perspective. You can have your own. Can absolutely have your own. Good news coming in with a birth here. So somebody coming to you, they are pregnant, they are starting something new here with the birthing process here, for sure. Could be you. And maybe that throws you into fear of bringing someone into this world, because this world is scary and people are starving and people are dying and the fears. Again, it's like winning it big. It's like, yeah, you're pregnant and you're immediately, oh my God, they're going to have struggles. This world is so scary. What are they going to do? They're not going to have any opportunities. There's not going to be any jobs. There's not going to be any opportunity with money. And immediately, instead of saying, oh my God, the sky's the limit, this child could be the chosen one. This child could lead us out of misery, lead us out of sorrow, out of the devil energy that we've been living under for quite some time here. Yeah, you got to shift. You got to shift that perspective about it. Shift your focus. Let go of the fear. Let go of the fear. It doesn't belong in your life any longer. Let go of the devil energy. Do not go to the worst case scenario every time you get some good news here. Don't ruin it for yourself. Just really rejoice. Really know that this is abundance. Understand these are the miracles. Births, bringing life in. There's nothing more sacred, right? You can even watch. I've had so many puppies born in my hands here because I love dogs. They're just my crutch in life here. And I see all these doggies playing, and cats too. Cats are just as precious to me. So yeah, I've seen life come into the world. I've seen a lot of death. I work at a law firm where we deal with death every single day, and there's so many emotions mixed in that, and so many people I have lost personally that I've gotten very, very close to. It's just as sacred. It's just as sacred. It really is. Death is just a part of life, and life is a part of death. And it goes on and on. I love this, Gemini. This is a recognition. This is a recognition to enjoy the good times, enjoy the good days, because they are few and far between. It's not fair to you to dwell in the bad days, to dwell in the things that are going wrong, to dwell in the sorrows of others here and get so caught up in their energy. It's so not fair to you. It's so not fair to you. These are the good times. You will never be this young again, ever. The rest of your life, you will never be this young again. Don't let the fear of aging get in the way of you. You know, aging is mandatory, but growing up is optional here. And there's a new birth here. There's a baby coming in. Yes, congratulations, whatever that is. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. That is a child, a grandchild, a niece, a nephew. Just real excitement and happiness, a rebirth in so many areas when you see this precious, precious child. I'm seeing an indigo baby with these big eyes, and I'm just here to really bring the light into the world. Really, there's a member of your family here, and it could be a best friend's child, but there is a child that is coming into this world. I don't think it's here yet. It's in the makings. And this child is going to bring the light, going to bring the happiness. It's dispelling all the fears in your life here. So beautiful, so sacred. All right, Gemini, I'm going to leave it here. And that is the miracle. That is the miracle that you finally understand. So I love it. All right, this got on way long. I'm going to leave it here. I am sending you all my love and light, Gemini. Leave me a comment. Let me know if this resonated with you. And yeah, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. Gemini, you know I'm going to tune in with you soon. And yeah, sending you all my love and light.